The Second Amendment. Oh, we have the freedom to bear arms. Okay, the Founding Fathers were not perfect. You know they owned slaves, right? Also, the guns they were talking about were like muskets, not AR whatevers.
Was the Constitution written by imperfect people? Yes, but what do the sins of the Founding Fathers have to do with the Constitution and the principles themselves in today's present day? Now, did the Founding Fathers foresee civilians owning AR-15s? No. There's no way they could have seen that. The same way they didn't expect people to be exercising their First Amendment right through online speech. That's why they wrote arms, because they didn't know what kind of firearms we would be manufacturing in the future.
New Jersey implements microstamping, a technology that does not exist and not one firearm uses it. Welcome to another installment of the Connecticut Gun Bench. Today's video is brought to you by P.A.N. Firearms, LLC. P.A.N. Firearms for NRA certification and multifaceted gun training. You can reach us at 203-300-6343 or use our website at www.panfirearmsllc.com. As always, there'll be a link in the description box below. And you like channel, like content, what I do here, you can support me in the link. Everything is appreciated. And once again, to the Connecticut residents, if you plan on getting your Connecticut pistol permit, please get that training done before July 2024, because then after that it gets longer, harder, more expensive. If you have your permit, watch the expiration date. There is a link to the online renewal portal in the description box for the state of Connecticut for pistol permits. Keep an eye on that. Let's talk about this. Now, this is something that's coming out of New Jersey. This is from a law that was signed back, I believe it was 2022, by Phil Murphy, the Democrat governor out there. And one of the provisions was to implement microstamping by February 28th, 2024. Only problem is, and there's several problems actually, other than the fact that it doesn't exist, is that the technology is not foolproof. Obviously, if you don't know what microstamping is, it is a specific identification number that's put on the head of the firing pin, so when it strikes the primer, it leaves behind a mark that can then attach the casing to the firearm. Immediately, you see all kinds of problems here because, one, you can just change the firing pin. Two, if you gently file it, you can take that identification number off. Three, you're going to have to figure out the guns that are in circulation among criminals. That mean, according to the FBI, some of those firearms remain in circulation for decades. So when will that catch up to it? And on. If the gun is stolen, it's useless. Even if they use it in a crime and actually fire it, it's useless. The gun is stolen. But they seem to think that this is a good idea, but God. Let me come into here. New Jersey Attorney General triggers microstamping law. On February 28, 2024, New Jersey Attorney General Matt Platkin's office announced that provisions in a 2022 law that have been allegedly met concerning so-called microstamping technology. In 2022, Governor Phil Murphy signed into law PL 2022C57, which puts into statute several provisions governing and redefining microstamping technology. As we're aware, microstamping has not been a viable technology, with California's similar law having not found on the market a single firearm with microstamp technology. It does not exist. Okay, now let's talk about that part. The reason it doesn't exist because, well, one, it's flawed technology, but forget that. The reason they implement these microstamping laws to force gun manufacturers to make guns that do the microstamping idea, which they don't and they won't. So the state can then turn around and say, well, if the gun doesn't have microstamping, it can't be sold in this state. Now, California's been going back and forth with this microstamping law. The judge on the last count, the judge has said, no, you can't do this. He basically put a squash on the microstamping. But it's designed at its core to stop gun manufacturers from being allowed to sell their products in a state if they don't have microstamping. Why would they waste their time making a specific set of guns for 2-3 states that have microstamping? They wouldn't. They just say, screw you, we'll just go to the other markets. That's what this is about. It's to prevent gun manufacturers from selling their products in those states. Connecticut tried doing it, and if I'm not mistaken, the person who actually invented microstamping said, it's not a viable technology. It doesn't technically exist. So for now, they kind of squashed that too. But you can be assured that's going to come back up again. But what is microstamping? According to the statute in the Garden State, to define a microstamping component to be a component of a firearm that will produce a microstamp on at least one location of the expended cartridge case each time the firearm is fired. The concept is that a firearm that expels a spent cartridge casing after a shot is fired, a unique identification number or mark will be imprinted on the casing. That number or mark would correspond with a given state's handgun registry if one exists. New Jersey is a state with a handgun registry. Proponents of the measure allege this will help identify the owner of a firearm used in the commission of a crime, if that person is actually the person using the gun. Like I said, what if it was stolen from that person? It doesn't identify anybody. For states without registries, peace officers would have to rely on the same tracing tactics used with conventional serial numbers, since a federal firearm registry is illegal. P.A.N's release noted that Attorney General Matthew J. P.A.N today announced that based on both live fire testing results and existing peer-reviewed studies, microstamping technology is a viable means of matching an expended cartridge case to the weapon from which it was discharged. There was no breakdown on how much of P.A.N's decision was weighted by peer-reviewed studies or actual concrete results. The law indicates that the investigation shall include, but need not be limited to, live fire testing evidence, and that upon designation of the first microstamping available firearm, the examiner shall create a microstamp roster, which shall include each firearm so designated. There is no indication on what firearm is the first microstamping enabled firearm, so it's not abundantly known how P.A.N was able to say the technology is viable. Whatever firearm was used in testing is supposed to be on the roster. The make and model of the alleged first microstamping enabled firearm has not yet been released. So, let me come out of that. And there it is. Bunch of snowball bullshit. They claim they test fired or allegedly test fired a gun with microstamping, yet that gun does not appear in the registry. So everybody's asking, well, who made this gun? Where did it come from? What's the unique identification mark that's on it? And I'm pretty sure you're not going to hear anything. It's going to be absolute silence when it comes to, well, where's the gun that you used to test? You're not going to hear it because somewhere in there, I feel it's a bunch of crap. Microstamping, as it's been repeatedly said, is flawed technology because you can alter it at any time. Like I said, if it was on a firing pin, you can change the firing pin. And these states are only implementing these microstamping laws so that they can tell the gun manufacturers, if you don't comply with our microstamping laws, you can't sell up your products in our state. That's what microstamping does. It damn sure is not going to help anybody trace anything at any given time. And for all the shootings that have happened, literally within an hour of the shooting and the gun being recovered, they find out exactly where it was sold, who made it, when it was shipped, when it was brought to the FFL and put in their books, and when it was sold to the person who then used it. So this is just absolute nonsense, but I wish, unfortunately, the people in New Jersey are going to have to pay for this because this is like a waste of money. Huge waste of money. And it's not their money, it's the taxpayers' money. But this is what they voted for, so hey. Let me know what you think. As always, you can leave your comments in the comment section below. And as always, any statements of violence or statements that lead to violence will be removed. Please like, share, comment, subscribe. Don't forget to hit that notification bell so you're notified the next time a video goes live. I will see you on the next one. Peace.